Welcome to episode 6 of the Side Hustle Heroes HQ podcast. Andrew and I are here today ready to roll.
Yes, indeed.
So we're going to cover a couple things. We're going to get right into the numbers. But first, we want to talk about Side Hustle Heroes. What does that mean? Andrew, what does that mean?
Yeah, what does it mean? Okay, so maybe some of you out there are thinking, oh, they think they're heroes. Ooh, I mean, I'm not even going to watch their podcast. Or if I do, it's like I'm trying to figure out why they think they're heroes. So, heroes, who's the real heroes? That name to us, it means you guys. You guys, the listeners, those who apply what we're teaching in our podcast. We're in this one together, right? So,
Yep.
You're the real heroes, right? So that's you getting into this, you working with us, you're the heroes. In fact, it makes us all heroes when you're successful. It may sound a little cheesy, but that's why we named it.
So, moving on, what's going on in the last week? Let's kind of talk about that. Anything for you? So what's been going on this week with you? I know last week we had the job change thing. Are you looking for a job? Or are you going to just kind of work on the side hustle? What are you doing?
Yes, I am hesitantly looking for a job in my field of marketing research. The more I do this side business, I have several things going on, the more excited I get about not going back ever again because there's so much stuff to do. I'm working 40 to 50 hours a week, I feel like, on this side hustle stuff now, and I'm happy about it. I feel great. I feel refreshed. So there's something different here.
Well, let me ask you something. You said you feel like you're working 40 or 50 hours. I mean, from when we talk, a lot of times you're still like not available to talk during the day. A lot of times because you're trying to get some stuff going. I mean, are you working 40 or 50 hours?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So
Okay.
what I used to do is I used to work my full-time job, then at night and evenings I would work my side business. I'm kind of doing both right now. So this weekend I work some of my side business, and then I treat this like a real job. So wake up, do my normal routine, get in front of the computer, and basically I'm working in front of my computer from probably 8:30 to about 6. So pretty full-time job, and I realized a lot of times with my other job I was taking a little bit longer lunch, up to an hour, and now I'm just scarfing down my lunch and get back to work again because I'm so excited. So
That's
there's
fun.
it's really fun, but sometimes there's a lot of different things here, but just because it's fun doesn't mean it's going to be making money. So that's the most important thing. It's like I need to focus on the things I'm trying to do, focus on the things that I know are going to make money. There's a lot of things that are like nice to do, and that's the problem with a lot of these side hustles. That's another idea for another side hustle. Just because you're busy doesn't mean you're being efficient and you're being, just because you're making a lot of money, right?
Right, not being profitable or whatnot.
Yeah, exactly. So that's unfortunately there's a lot of time wasters, and so that is something that's probably been one of my downfalls is spending a lot of money on things that just don't bring home the bacon.
So for me last week, it's just been kind of a busy week. Work's picked up. My day job's been extremely busy this last week. Been really busy with that, and then just life in the evenings it's been a little more busy than normal seemingly. So, as we're going into the numbers, one thing I did want to mention, the nice thing about this side hustle, like my other side hustles are not as much this way. You can just kind of lay it down, My other side hustles, I'll schedule things out and, push it out.
Mm-hmm.
Like Andrew and I are going to be going to a conference together, and, nothing's going to happen while we're at the conference as far as shooting videos or any of that. And that's fine. You can just kind of lay it aside. I think I put up maybe 4 videos last week is all.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not very many. But you know what? I still had a good week. My numbers, actually, once you hit your numbers, then we'll go over my numbers real quick.
Can we just do this real quick too, just to let you guys know what's going on today? So we talked about what's going on this week. We're going to also talk about other than our numbers, we're going to talk about some new things we've learned about getting approved. We're working with some people here. We're trying to mentor some people to get them started on Amazon Influencer. There are different phases, so we're going to give you some tips on that. There's another thing, is quickly growing Facebook pages. So we talked a little bit about doing advertising to Facebook pages. I'm going to give you some more details on that. In fact, we're actually going to have a video that's going to be in our Facebook group, Side Hustle Heroes HQ, where I'll actually walk you through, do screenshots. You'll share my screen so you actually can see how I do that. We'll also chat about some mistakes people are making with their video reviews. And I know we talk about video reviews every single week, but we continue to see people making mistakes with their video reviews. So we want to make sure we're going to hammer those things home. It's been about 5 minutes just nailing those things down so you can be really, really clear.
There's a lot there.
There's a lot there, but we're going to try to simplify. I have a feeling we've said a lot of things that's like, oh my gosh, you said 20 things. We're going to boil it down to the 3 or 4 things that you really need to focus on for your videos. Yeah, so let's go into the numbers. Me first?
Yeah, if you can.
All right, cool. Yeah, so I'm really consistent the last couple of weeks. I'm at this last 30 days. I don't know what you're doing this month or last 30 days, but I'm at 780 the last 30 days. So
nice.
It's been in that 780 to 800. I feel like the last 30 days. So I feel pretty good. I had a couple days that are really low, and one thing you'll notice that I see this all the time on the Facebook groups that we're in. Someone will have a $0 day or a $5 day, and they're just like, "Oh my gosh, what's happening?" Just hang in there, because you might even have a couple bad days that are just, and all of a sudden it goes back up again. So I was at really low for 2 or 3 days, and then it's back up to its normal like $25, $30. And I actually had a $50 day. I think it was this past week. So past 7 days, real quick. Past 7 days is trending pretty decent. Sorry, I'll edit this out. But my past 7 days have been okay. Yeah, my past 7 days were at $184, so not too bad. And like Jim had mentioned, I haven't got a whole bunch of videos. I got a bunch of videos up a week ago, and they haven't hit yet. I haven't made any money from those videos. One cool thing I noticed is I hadn't got a sale of a coffee maker that I'm selling for months, and all of a sudden it popped up. So I know a lot of times you say when it falls off, it may be toast. I don't know where it is. It's popped up somewhere. So if you delete your video, we talked about this before, maybe deleting a video if it's gone might be a good practice. Maybe you shouldn't delete it. Maybe leave it up and just do a new variation of it. I think we've actually even said too, never really a good idea to delete a video. You should probably always leave it. You never know what's going to pop up again. Just do a similar version of it, maybe answering some key questions about it that we talked about already on the Amazon page. So, Jim Ed, numbers.
All right, to my numbers, past 7 days, $905, $905 for the past 7.
Okay.
And then the past 30 days is $32.72, so $3,272.
Nice.
And this is basically a goal reached. I was hoping our house payment's right around that $3,000 mark, so I was hoping to hit that. Mm-hmm. And I have consistently over the last 90 days hit over $3,000.
What's your goal?
Hit about $3,000.
You already say that. Sorry.
That's okay, but that was like my
3,000,
original goal. Mm-hmm. But now it's like, now that I'm kind of seeing how this business works, and I like that you put in there that, sometimes people have $0 days, $5 days, what's going on. As you put more videos up, or at least in my experience, and it just makes common sense, you're going to have less of those. So like my $5 days, my $0 days are typically more along the lines of a $40 day or a $50 day. So I'll have fluctuations. Typically, a low day for me, I would consider a somewhat low day today was $66. So $50 to $60 is a low day, and then a high day is something in the over 200 range. So you can get it built up and just keep putting videos. Like Andrew said, you never know what's going to pop back up. You never know what's going to happen. So
yeah, just a reminder also, when you look at your reports, you can even download these things too to get the exact dates. But if you feel like, I was making a lot of sales of something. I was selling a Quest 2 for a while. It's a VR device. I haven't sold any anymore. I've got 4 videos out there. They all fell off the listing. And when I logged in, I saw there's a lot of new videos on there as well. Maybe it's an opportunity to upload some new videos. So take a look at your winners. I know you mentioned that you had something that fell off, and you're just going to kind of like maybe try it later or something. But it doesn't hurt to try to upload it again. It is still summer for some of those products, their pool products you're talking about. So you never know. We don't know all the answers here, but experiment. Don't be afraid to experiment and try things. And we're not going to tell you every single thing that you should be doing, right? In fact, we'd love it if you tried something. If you tried something and you want to share that with us, we'd really appreciate it. So anything else on the numbers? And we can get into the next thing we want to talk about.
No, but I'm really excited about that. And to add on to what Andrew said there, yes, share with us, get on Facebook, join the group.
Yeah.
Man, looked at the numbers for last week on the podcast. They're going through the roof. Thank you, guys. Thank you for sharing it with friends. That's how we grow this community. But we've learned a lot of stuff this week. And look, Amazon doesn't give me a call weekly. It's more of a monthly call. But they don't call me at all. They don't tell me, hey, this is what's going on. This is what we're changing. But
occasionally.
Yeah, Andrew don't get the emails.
I don't even get emails. He gets emails. You said something like you're getting like a weekly email in a text. I was like, what?
Yeah, but John gets that same email. So he's real. He's not even.
Who's John?
Johnny G.
He gets emails too.
Emails too. So
we're trying to get Johnny G going.
It's something he did wrong. So
I did nothing wrong. Thank you.
But the thing I wanted to say is, this is how we learn. We learn through experience. So we're hoping to get some experience. We're working with several people on this, and I mean, it's getting to be quite a few people we're working on this. I'd say we're probably working with about a dozen or more people.
Yep.
And we're getting the feedback on what's happening when they're applying, what's not happening, what it's taking.
Yeah, we're taking this thing seriously. So we are helping people, and as we're helping people, we're learning. So the more we do this, the more we're going to learn, and we'll be able to tell you on this podcast. So we're not just, it's not just this, what do you call it, rescripted, regurgitated stuff that we're just in this vacuum and we're like, oh, we got to talk about something new this week. This is organic stuff. We're learning things every week, and we're continuing to get better. So I think, as it turns out, I'm enjoying these podcasts. I really look forward to them. And, we talked about we're going to hit number 20. And, how about our friend that we were talking bad about? I feel a little bit bad because he actually had some really nice things to say and said, hey, I heard you guys are doing a podcast. And
so the funny thing is, yes, he reached out to us. He's like, I listened to the first 2 podcasts, and I was thinking, I think that was podcast 3 that we kind of rubbing his nose in it.
Yeah.
So, funny thing was, podcast 3, I was like, nah, he won't listen to it. Yeah, he's listening to it and reached out and had some nice things to say. But this guy, he can take it. He's got a great sense of humor, and he's a really great guy, sweetest guy we know, other than Andrew.
If you're out there, we appreciate you and love you very much. Okay, so last week we were talking about work-life balance. I may have edited this out last week, but the whole point, I said, don't make this about money. You can do whatever you want to. I'm not making it about only money. Okay, I just hit the microphone, sorry. I'm not only making this about money, okay, for me. So I'm not here to preach. I've listened to podcasts where they kind of get preachy. I'm never going to be a preachy person. If I am, I apologize. I don't want to. But for me, if money's the main thing, I'm going to burn out pretty quickly. It's got to be about other things. I think one of the main motivations is helping other people. And I really do believe that. And you hear a lot of people, too, that are very successful. They say, well, I make so much money now, I want to help other people. I believe that to a certain extent. Unfortunately, a lot of times they're selling a really expensive course where they're like, I just want to help you, we've already made our money. Yeah, you're going to make some more money because you're charging $3,000 for a course that's really hard to follow. So that's a whole other story. But I can speak for myself that that's a motivation for me, is certainly making money, but it's also helping people. And I think it's just the flexibility of being your own boss. I love being my own boss. I like to learn from others also, but it's nice to call the shots. Not that I have to do this like that. I don't want anyone helping me. It's just really nice when, hey, I'm going to do this today. No one's dictating what I'm going to work on. So there's a lot of power. The hard thing about side hustles no one's motivating you. No one's motivating you to say, get up, get on it, unless you find someone like that, like in a gym ed or something in your life. So at work, you naturally have a boss because guess what? Those companies are constructed that way because if everyone was isolated and no one was pushing them, nothing would get done. So there's a reason the companies do the way they do. You have supervisors, you have bosses, you have numbers you have to hit. So why not do the same thing with your side hustle? I have to get 5 video reviews done today. I have to do X. I want to make this much money this month, and so on. Yeah.
So, one thing on that, I've envisioned myself, breaking off and doing my own thing. Andrew got that push from his day job of not having it anymore to kind of work the side hustles a lot harder. And I've gone through that a couple of years ago myself. I was out of work for 90 days. The thing is when you're out of work, you don't know how long you're going to be out of work.
Right.
So, I started making it happen with the side hustles. I was very thankful that I had a couple established side hustles there. Actually, like I think I shared earlier, I made more money during that 90 days than normal. The hard thing with my side hustles, especially at the time, and the thing I love about the Amazon Influencer Program, is the hard thing was it's during the summer. We live in Texas. Yeah. It is hot during the summer. I don't want to work for the next 20 years outside in the summer heat. That was one thing. The other thing is when summer's over, nobody's wanting their fences welded. When it's Halloween and it's Thanksgiving, it's Christmas, it's January, we're hungover from spending all the money in December.
You're hungover sometimes?
Yeah, money hangovers are a serious thing. You're out of money. It's probably like the worst headache when you're out of money come January for Christmas. But people are having these deals where they just don't have the money to spend.
Yep.
So they're not getting their fence painted. They're not getting their fence fixed. They're dealing with it. And, then when spring pops up, it's like, oh, we want to be outside. Oh, we need to get that fixed. Now then you start getting calls. So the thing that I was saying about this is I like it because guess what? Near Christmas time, this side hustle, I think I'm doing pretty good now. I'm pulling down $3,000 or so a month. Mm-hmm. When Christmas comes, naturally, that's just going to raise the tide. I'm going to naturally just go up with the same amount of work. And no matter what your goal is, I mean, you may not have a lofty goal of hitting 3 or 6 or 10K a month, but man, how nice would it be if, your car payment was getting made, or maybe both your car pay. I mean, Andrew's making right about enough to pay all of one car payment and part of another one.
With Amazon Influencer?
Yeah, just Amazon
Yeah.
Influencer alone.
I'm hearing consistency. So his summer business, there's some things that are really big in the summertime. He says it's really hot, but there's certain things that people are doing things in the spring, summer, fall. If you have a business that is like this, it's really hard to make money. But I think what he's saying is influencer's pretty consistent. In fact, it really peaks in the holidays. I sell some things that really aren't even gift type products, and it goes crazy. It almost doubles during Christmas
So I'm
time.
already, and we've been kind of talking about this. The holidays are coming. It's June, and I'm thinking of the holidays because you got to be thinking ahead with this.
Absolutely. Yeah. So that's awesome. So here's something I've heard this multiple times, but this is important. You need to figure out why you're doing this side hustle in the first place. Figure out your why, as they say. Figure out the motivation. What is your why? Is it for money? Is it success? Is it to quit your day job? Is it more time with family, etc.? You got to figure that out because you got to remind yourself what that motivation is. Because if you don't really have a motivation, or you're like, oh, I'm just going to do this, then it can burn out pretty quickly. So you got to remind yourself why you're doing what you're doing. And I talked a little bit about my faith last week and those importance. So you might be wondering, why is he mentioning this? Well, I want to make sure, first of all, I like to talk about who I am for sure. But secondly, I want to make sure you guys know that I'm ethical and I'm honest. I try. Am I perfect? Not at all. But there's a lot of different ways to make money where you're cutting corners, or you're stealing something from someone, or it's in the gray areas. I don't want to operate in there. I want to be in here for the long term.
Yeah,
I've been in business so long that, last thing I was going to say, I've been in business so long that there's so many short-term thinkers that, I'm going to do this real quick and then I'll make some quick money. That's never going to be good. I'm in it for the long haul. If you do things right in the long haul, it will come back to you. There's a lot of things that you could do now, be dishonest and make money, absolutely. You're not going to be happy. You're going to piss off a lot of people.
Yeah, so me too. I'm a Christian, and I'm going to have a certain watermark over what I do. And so for those out there that aren't Christians, you're still going to you're not going to hear on this podcast of, hey, run to Walmart, go buy it, open it up real carefully, get it out, demo it, put it back, and return it to Walmart.
Right.
That's just, that's going to be a short-term gain, and like Andrew just said, on the short-term gain, it's easy to go, well, I'll do this a couple times to kind of get started. It never works that way. Right. It always ends up going, okay, that's the new rule, and unfortunately, it tends to get worse. So that's my thoughts along those lines. Yeah, exactly.
As well. And we're not going to be here to preach. Yes, we are Christians, but we're going to mention that from time to time. But don't worry, it's not going to be a Bible thumper.
Yeah, hit them
Bible
over
thumper
hit
thing.
them over the head with
so
the Bible.
Understood. Whether you're, like he said, it's like my faith does dictate how I live my life as far as being honest. Mm-hmm. Obviously, there's a lot of people out there that may not have our faith, which is fine, and you're an honest person, and that's awesome. So we're not casting any judgment on anybody who's not a Christian or someone who is a Christian. So let's get that out of the way.
Maybe just a little bit.
Maybe just a little bit, yeah. Awesome. So that's the last thing I was going to say about this. So work-life balance is so important. So just remember that. Don't run over the people that you love. And I mentioned this a little bit about boundaries. If I was single, or I didn't care about my relationship with my wife or friends, I'd be making a lot more money. But at the end of the day, what's the most important thing? Well, making money is not the most important thing for me. I have other things I want to do in my life. There's hobbies as well. So I don't know why you're smiling, but just remember that, because
we kid about it. That's why I'm smiling.
The reason why he makes a lot more money than me is, well, he probably cares less about some of the things I care about, like family and friends. And I'm just kidding. He's playing. Yeah. Anyway, good stuff. All right. So let's get in the next section here. A lot of other things to talk about here. So we've learned quite a few things over the last couple of weeks, and we're going to continue to share that with you. So let's talk a little bit about what we've learned. We're helping some people out. Some interesting things have happened over the last couple of weeks, and some things, it's not always positive, but a lot of times you're like, that's interesting that happened.
So what I'd like to say on that is everything we've said up until now, I think is still very accurate, and we'll tell you when it's not. So, things that we said might have been accurate 2 weeks ago, but things may have changed. I can't really put my finger on necessarily that anything has definitely changed. However, I will say that it seems like Amazon's getting a little more. Let me back up just a second. Amazon says things the way they say things on purpose. Okay, So they leave things vague a bit, because they can work within those parameters. So
Right.
I kind of feel like there's, pendulum swings going
Yep.
where, all right, we're going to swing over here. We need to get a lot of people in here. Let everybody in. Doors open. Then it swings back to, we've got a lot of people in here. Let's keep it kind of tight. If they look like they're going to be really good, great. And then the other side of things is, well, maybe it's not that at all. Maybe it's just there's a human being over here going, check, they're fine. Let them in. You
Right.
got somebody else over here that's going, oh man, I think we're supposed to like really dive in and make sure that everything's perfect. But again, we did learn some very specific things this week that we hadn't heard about that I guess is in the guidelines. I'm thinking about what happened with Jimmy specifically on the Amazon thing. So what happened was our friend Jimmy jumped in and got going with, got approved. So there's 2 approval parts. You get your initial approval. It's like
Auto approval.
Auto approval.
Yeah.
Good point. Algorithm is deciding, does this fit the criteria? So that is when it's checking your social media. So it takes a look. It goes, do they have enough engagement? Do
Right.
they have enough of a following? Check. Okay, so he got checked
Not
right
so
through
much
on
the
that.
content at that point.
Right.
We don't believe. How is it going to really do that? Maybe it can look for some things, but I have a feeling it's like you said, followers, engagement, how
Yeah.
old the site is,
A robot's,
how old the platform
a bot's
is.
doing a check. So,
Right.
so he got approved. Everything's good. So it's okay. Now it's time to make the 3 videos. So we're kind of holding hands a little bit, and we're helping him right along. We watched his first video. I thought everything looked pretty good. This guy's a YouTuber. He knows how to shoot a video. He knows how to light it. He knows how to do the audio. All that is spot on. His content was good. I would say he was a 10 out of 10 on lighting and audio, and his content was probably a 7 or 8, pretty strong.
Yep.
But, well good enough. And then he went ahead and put up his other 2 videos, got kicked. So you get 3 chances. So they got kicked. So what happened was he put his 3 videos up, and it's like, no bueno. So he put 3 more videos up. They got kicked as well. So we watched another video, can't really put our finger on what's happening, and he gets kicked for the 3rd time. So his main social media account is now no good, can't use that to get back in. So he will have to start or repurpose another social media platform to get going. So Andrew, I'll let you tell everybody kind of what exactly happened, because this kind of was after the fact. Unfortunately, when Amazon was like, this is why it's not working.
Yeah. Well, I was going to just backtrack just a little bit here. So it's a little weird, but so you get the auto approved, then with your videos, there's this 24-hour period where you're getting this reviewed. I don't think it's by a human. It's probably some sort of an something's looking at it. He did get kicked out a couple times, his videos, for some reason. Maybe, I think it said because he's using personal identifiable information. He said his name, remember? Which is really weird because we say our name all the time. So there's some weird things going on, but I think that what's interesting about this is seemed like they were on to him. It was very difficult for him to even get it past that first level. Finally, he removed some name stuff. There may have been a barcode or something. I think if you ever have a product like a box, make sure you're not showing the barcode. We've talked about license plate stuff before. Anything you see, any sort of personally identifiable information or like something like that, make sure it's removed. So he finally got past that, and then like, okay, we have all three not approved, they've been published. Yeah, he got all 3 videos published, and then probably about 2 or 3 days later, then he got this message saying his videos were not up to the quality they were looking for, and it had some specific information. And what was interesting about it is, I don't have that in front of me right now, but he had some specific, I'm not going to go into the details of what it was, but it was tied to a social media platform. There was things he talked about on a social media platform. There's nothing wrong with what he talked about. It's just Amazon did not like what he was talking about in his content of his platform for some reason. So they told him specifically, you're using these terms, we don't want you using these terms. So, but he's got tons of videos like that already. He can't just delete them all.
It was kind of unfortunate that they
kind of
wait
unfortunate,
until he's kicked all the way out
Yeah.
to learn that, well, this was the problem. Probably from the get-go. I don't think, they said it was personal
Yes.
information.
Yeah.
We thought it might be a barcode.
Yeah.
I think it was this probably
so,
all
too.
along.
They're leading him along almost.
And they had to go through the process
Yeah.
of doing
Yeah.
the 3 videos and kicking him out. And the thing that was, like Andrew was alluding to, there is no way that he could use this platform because what he mentions on the platform is against what they're going to allow.
And they told him specifically. So we just don't want to talk about the specifics because it's not necessary, because they will tell you. They will tell you, you use these terms. A lot of times, like I feel like YouTube a lot of times, you broke the terms, you're out. Like, what did I do wrong? They don't tell you. And even Amazon a lot of times, they don't tell you what's up. But I feel like they're getting a lot more specific as far as like when I do Amazon selling, they tell you this, you had this language in here, you can't have this language. You can't make claims. So they're getting a lot better at telling you, look, let's not play games. We're going to tell you this was wrong, so you're out. Fix the issue. Fix the issue, or start over again, whatever. So the takeaway here is that the social media platform you use is very important, and they are tied together. So if you find that your videos are not getting approved, you might want to take a look at your social media platform and figure out what's going on there.
Yeah, and weirdly, don't say Amazon in your videos. That's their name, and they don't want you using it. So whenever you're shooting your 3 videos, don't say, oh, hey, I got this at Amazon.
It's so natural a lot of times.
It seems like it would make sense, but
Yeah.
that's kind of what can get you in a sticky situation, is using their products or using somebody else's products. So when they say personal information, it just may be that you're representing Coca-Cola or some other brand in a somewhat official capacity, and they don't like that on their social media.
Yeah, so what is he going to do differently now? We're going to get a little bit more into what he can do, but he can just get another social media platform up, like a Facebook page or Instagram, and kind of, in a sense, starting from scratch. But I'm going to talk a little bit about a really quick way to get your Facebook page get a lot of likes just in a couple of days for not much money, using advertising. So before we get there, let's talk about your friend Cody, who actually got on with the TikTok, which is pretty interesting. So TikTok's not my thing, and what I'm going to talk about is Facebook specifically, but the point is there's a lot of different ways to get in, and he's did a creative approach with TikTok, and at least for now, he's in.
Yep, so I talked to Cody, he's in, and I texted him this morning to see how many followers he had and how many likes he got. Yeah. He started this TikTok page, I think less than 2 months ago. We've been talking to him the whole, started from zero, did not have a TikTok account. So he now has 131 followers, and he has 1,245 likes. And I think at the time he got in, he was just a little bit over 1,000. I don't think he had 1,100 likes yet.
Is that likes across all his videos? Is that basically cumulative likes?
Yes,
okay.
It is.
Yeah.
That is correct.
Yeah.
So that goes to show you that it wouldn't take much. And then I think he probably spent less than $50 in advertising. I think $10 or $15 a pop on a couple of videos toward the end, kind of helped take off. He was getting an average of 200 or 300 views per video, and the ones he was advertising on, I think it was about the same plus 1,000, so around 1,300 views. And he also, of course, got a whole lot more likes and several more followers. I think he was telling me he would get about 9 or 10 followers per advertised, extra followers per advertised video.
So fingers crossed, but what I've heard happening in some cases that you get auto approved, and then maybe a couple weeks down the road, you get that message, kind of like our friend got, but a different message saying, sorry, your social media account is not old enough. It hasn't been around long enough, whatever the language is. So sorry, you need to wait. In that case, you probably need to reapply again, I guess, with that social media platform, I think, after a couple months. So I don't know if that one's toast necessarily. It may just be the time. So it's a little weird. If you've already been approved, can you reapply with the same one as before? I think you can.
I would guess you could.
I guess you could. And we were even talking to somebody else like, oh, should I get a Facebook and a TikTok and maybe multiple accounts? I don't think it ever hurts to do that, because you can come in from, if I was his friend Cody, I would say and I've been telling him this too, do a Facebook page also, do an Instagram page or something like that. So, but he may or may not do that. Let's hope that he gets in with his 3 videos, and let's hope that he's going to be off the races. And
well, one thing we have advised him to do, and we would advise you to do the same, is keep posting. The thing that's going to throw up the red flag to me is, okay, new account, and now that they're in, they've stopped. Because this is why Cody opened the TikTok, was to get on this influencer program. So don't stop. At least keep something going.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. So anything else on that?
I think that'll cover it.
All right, cool. So now let's talk a little bit about quickly growing a Facebook page. So we've been working with several people, probably 3 or 4 people that they don't have any social media account that has enough followers to be able to get into the program, to Amazon Influencer Program. But luckily, a lot of them have a page that's been around for a while. So hopefully you're one of the people out there that says, oh yeah, I did a Facebook page like 5 years ago for whatever, for kayaking or something, or my dog, and I forgot about it and it just didn't work. I've got like a dozen of those, believe it or not. It's like I've had so many things I've tried, but those are good. Those are good assets. If you haven't deleted them, then that's a great, this is a perfect opportunity for repurposes. I'll get into the details there on that. Secondly, if you don't have one, that's okay. You need to start from scratch, but creating a Facebook page is so, and don't get confused with groups. There's Facebook groups and there's Facebook page, business page. Business page is what we're talking about. Not very hard. You can Google that. It's not going to take very long to do that. So this is the easiest way to grow a page that I've seen. So here's how you do this. So first of all, let's assume that you're repurposing an old page. Maybe you're starting from scratch even. It's the same process. Get something that maybe a hobby that you're interested in. If you don't have any hobbies, then just make it like Andrew's Finds or Andrew's, I don't want to call it Amazon, but Andrew's Product Finds or Andrew's Favorite Things or something. And what that's going to be is it could just be a bunch of viral products. That's really, really easy. So if you had nothing and like you have no interest like, oh, birds or kayaking or fishing, then just throw up something and find some viral videos out there like TikTok or something like that you can just use. And so I've heard of some people downloading the videos and using it on their ads. I don't recommend doing that. I'm more about, I don't like, again, I don't call it stealing, but it's like, I would prefer, if I was doing it myself, I would actually take a video that I think is really good and be inspired by that to do something similar myself. Okay, so
now is sharing it wrong? If you
share it, it's not going to work you need to download that video, right? So
you do need to kind of take it, and that's
you
where
need
it's
to,
getting
that's where it gets a little weird.
in
Yeah,
the gray area.
so
for
it
sure.
gets in the gray area. You are advertising it, and you could give them credit for sure, but ultimately you're growing your page based on someone else's assets. So I felt a little uncomfortable about that. But again, you do what you are comfortable doing. But either way, get something. Ideally, it's your own content. That's something that's interesting. And I was even talking to somebody else's. He said, "How about inspirational memes, like these inspirational thoughts? Like you go to Canva. I don't know if you've heard about Canva before, but it's really simple. You can get some really good graphics, video footage. Really easy to do your own type thing. And so I could see how you could grow something like that, inspirational thoughts, drive some ads to it. So there's
also asking questions and seeing if name that tune or whatever.
Yeah.
People, if you engagement is what you need. Engagement. And while we're talking about engagement, go ahead and go to our Facebook page. You can find all of our stuff there. Side Hustle Heroes HQ. Follow us on there, and go ahead and follow us on this podcast or YouTube, wherever you're catching.
And
us
join
right
our
now.
group. Join our group because that's where everything is sort of fueled. You have our podcast links there. You also have, we're posting numbers. We're talking about things. Obviously, we're watching our podcast here, but we have little clips. But there's a lot of good stuff here. We also are giving away. If you give us your email address, we're giving away like a cheat sheet and a way to be successful with Amazon Influencer. So, sorry, I got
You was talking about engagement. So and watch and see how other people are getting engagement, and figure out how to make that your own.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the thing about this, and I know it's so frustrating because there's people out there going to be like, tell me exactly what I need to put in my page. Like, you're never going to be successful long term if you copy everybody else. Do your own spin on something. I know sometimes you're like, well, I'm new, I don't really know what to do. You can think of something. Okay, so be inspired by something. I know it's so easy to copy somebody else, but you're not going to get as far in life if you copy people. Believe me, I've tried it. When I copy people, I fail. When I do my own version of something and add some value to it, I'm usually more successful. Okay, so let's get through these steps here. So put some content on there. Find a viral product. You get that video. Once you have the video that you've created, hopefully, or even an image perhaps, you download that, and that's going to be what you're using for your ad. Okay, so that will be what you put in your ad. So what you do is, if you're not familiar with Facebook advertising, I'm going to actually do a video. It's going to be in our Facebook group, okay? But I'm going to explain what you do. It's called an engagement ad. There's a lot of different ad styles on Facebook. This particular ad style is called engagement. Okay, so, and then when you're going through there and doing your settings, you want to make sure to optimize for page likes. Okay, there's a little thing that says Facebook page. Facebook page. You're going to do engagement, Facebook page, and you want to optimize for likes. It's very important. I would say run it for $25 a day, and then, like I said, I'll include a Facebook group. I'll include how to do this in the Facebook group. Step 4, you want to keep it running until you get about 2,000 likes on your page. And then you want to ask for approval. Then you want to actually put that page up for approval on Amazon Influencer. Does that make sense?
Yeah, we had a person get theirs done in 4 days.
Yeah, exactly.
Approved.
Just a couple days, really quickly. Another thing too, I didn't mention this in my notes, global traffic. When I mean by global traffic is make sure by default it says US traffic. You want global. Literally, you go through, you click browse, you see all the countries there, select all countries.
And you're going to put this up on the Facebook
I'll put
group
this on Facebook.
step by step, right?
Step by step, right. So that's at a high level. Facebook page is critical here. Run those ads. That's the best way to start from scratch, or you're repurposing an old Facebook page.
And the person that did this did it with $50. So
Yeah, 50
just so you know,
Yeah.
it wasn't $25 a day for weeks.
What?
When you
Oh,
set,
yeah, exactly.
When you set that up for $25 a day, can you tell it just do it for 2 days, or how does that
Sure.
work? You don't want to
Yeah.
like wake up and go, oh, Facebook,
Yeah.
$250 for the last 10 days because I forgot about it.
Yeah, if you don't watch it, you keep on running. So you can
Well,
set a schedule for it to end at a certain date, but just be watching it. Don't set it and forget it. Take a look at it and see what you're doing, because you might find that you get everything you need in just like 1 day or a couple days. So just remember that you don't need more than probably 3,000 or 4,000 at the end of the day. I think 2,000 could very well get you in. But like Jim was saying, once you're in, don't say, "Oh, then I'm done." Make sure to continue to add content. In fact, before you do your first ad, make sure you have other content on your Facebook page before you do that, okay? I would say have 5 to 10 posts, whatever that is, whether it's memes or product videos, fun videos. And I'll tell you this also. I haven't looked into this too much, but Fiverr has a lot of these product videos out there. So the question is, where are they getting that? They might be creating it. So I say use caution when you're buying something from somebody, but if they have good reviews and people have a good experience, that might be a way to get some videos for not very expensive that are legit. You're not actually stealing from somebody. Okay, so keep that in mind. All right, so we're gonna wrap up here with the last thing we're gonna talk about is best practices for shooting videos. So I know you're like, again, it's like, no, we've talked with lots of people, and it's one of those things where even though we've told our friends like a million times, we keep on watching videos and saying, you can't really see the product, you're kind of far back, I can't really hear you very well, you didn't mention what you liked about it, you demonstrated it, but you didn't mention what you liked about it. So we're going to talk a little bit, we're going to nip all this in the bud here one more time. Let's kind of go through all these things here.
So one thing that I think we ought to do, just kind of talking about it, I really like what you're going to do on the Facebook page with the clicking through the Facebook, how to do it step by step. Let's you and I get a video together this week. So give us a little bit of time, but we'll get something out on Facebook as an example video where we show hitting all the spots. So
that's a great idea. I think we want to do more of that in our Facebook group. We don't want it to be regurgitated content. We're going to have unique content that's only going to be in our Facebook group, guys. Okay, so you need to join our Facebook group because that's where we're going to have that stuff like that. Okay?
Yeah. So, but here's what we've been seeing. It's like we talk to people, and if you've never shot a video, then you may not understand it, but I think it'll also still make sense. But you never completely understand it till you do it.
Yeah.
It's like, it's your camera. You can delete it. You know, it's easy.
Yeah.
But for some reason, whenever you hit the record button, it's like you get dumb.
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
you
I
tense up a little
can't
bit.
talk correctly,
Yeah.
and I don't talk
shaky
like that.
voice.
Why
Okay.
am I using the wrong adjectives here or using these verbs incorrectly? But it all comes out. So we've noticed that. We tell people kind of, here's what you need to do, and then they don't cover all the areas. So not covering all the areas is important. Here's the quick review. I'll hit it quick. Your audio needs to be great. Your video lighting needs to be great. It needs to be really good, great. Outside is a great place to get great lighting. Keep that in mind. Think about background noises going on outside. Your air condenser's running right here beside you. No bueno. But anyway, think about all of that. You know, we want to talk about the product. We want to talk about how we use it, why we bought it. You know, we want to make it a personal thing where we are communicating to a friend about why we bought it, why we like it. You're not trying to sell it to them by no means, but they've asked. They're thinking about buying it themselves. They notice you have one. What do you think about it? That's what you're going to convey to them. So while you're doing that, you want to go ahead and talk about a few things that you don't love about it, maybe, if there's a few things there, which is fine because it also is going to keep you from probably experiencing a return. Hey, this little thing here, don't care for this part of it. and they're going to go, oh, yeah, I'm not going to like that. I'm not going to buy it. Or they're going to go, oh, well, that's not really going to matter for what I'm using it for. I do want it now. It's good to know that that's kind of the only thing that they didn't really care for. When you can, you want to demonstrate the product. You want to be using the product for what it is used for. And a lot of times when you're doing that, it'll sparkle hit you and you go, oh, hey, yeah, and this is one thing that's a really nice tip to do while you're using it. And it's like, oh, you can use it for that too. So people are just like, oh, I'm sold. I was thinking about buying it. They're on the buy page. I was thinking about buying it. I can use it for that too. Works well for that. That's a bonus. I'm getting it. And then just summarize and give a conclusion. And that's where people kind of get off the rails a little bit and just start throwing up, as they say. Show up and throw up. You're just blah, blah, blah. Figure out what you're going to say in conclusion before you start the video. You want to kind of have a little bit of four things you're going to highlight, and you want to have your conclusion done and ready, and your video will look a lot better.
That's great, yeah. And so just to recap, overall intro of product, why you bought the product, maybe how long you've had it. That's important as well. And if you're not, if you just got it, that's fine.
And hey, if you've had that product for a year or two, hey, that's great.
Yes.
It doesn't look brand new anymore. That's great.
Right.
You can talk, I've had this product for 2 years. It's a great product.
Yeah, so overall intro product, why you bought it, how you're using it, likes and dislikes, demonstrate how you're using it, tips for using that product as you're doing that, talk about your personal experience with it, and then finally summarize in conclusion, and you're in and out, right? Ideally, somewhere between 1 minute and 3 minutes on the long side, but I think the 1 to 2 minutes is a sweet spot for sure.
So we're talking about the first 3 videos, okay?
Yes.
Once you get past and you get accepted, if you make a mistake, there's a license plate, there's a barcode, you give an address, or there's a UPS label that you can see your address on.
Yeah.
After you've passed your first 3 videos, none of that matters. You're just going to get a rejection notice on that one video.
It matters, but it's not going to reject your account. It'll just reject the video.
Right. So
and these are good.
These first 3 matter.
Yes, these first 3 matter. These are good practices for all videos, but especially for the first 3. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so you've had some videos that are over 5 minutes, right? That you've done.
Mm-hmm. I do.
Yeah, and that's okay. That's okay. But the first 3, get in, get out. We've told you that already. Continue to do that.
Don't get into a complicated product where you're going to give it a 7-minute video on your first 3. I have them out there, and they're more expensive products, and people are probably going to want to watch maybe the whole thing just so they can get a good grasp on it. But that's not what you want to do during their approval process. You want to keep it simple.
All right, let's talk about some of these other things too. This is all the content, which is probably the most important thing, but here's some other things too. The camera, the sound, the filler words, which is kind of content, and then other things like that. So maybe we can talk about that.
Watch out for your, I'm bad with so, I start every sentence off with so, and then when you're thinking about it, and you'll catch that here in the podcast as well, but just practice it. Don't be afraid to shoot a video 5 or 6 or 8 or 10 times to get it right, especially on these first 3. Now, to me, best practice is let's get a little better at this, and let's get this down to 1 take. I have been shooting YouTube for 4 years. That's why I'm so polished. Just kidding a little bit there. But there is a little bit of truth to that. There is a polishing effect that kind of takes place where you can knock something out a lot quicker. If I'm going to do a video on YouTube that's 12 minutes long and there's an hour or 2 of content that we're cutting down to 12 minutes, if I am doing retakes over and over and over, it is going to take me a month to do one 12-minute video. And it's the same thing on this Amazon influencer. If you're going to put up a 2-minute video and it takes you 30 minutes to shoot the one video, and then if it takes you 30 minutes to shoot the one video, it's going to take you an hour to edit that video. So a lot of my videos are 1 take, or there's 2 parts that get married together because you got to do 1 part here and 1 part later. We want to keep that short and sweet and simple.
Yeah, and alternative is get comfortable using software. If the content's really good, but you have some ums and ahs. We have a friend of ours that did a great video, but he had about 10 ums and ahs in it, right? So I went ahead and took that and just removed them immediately using this software called Descript. It's great. So whatever video editing software you're comfortable using, I would get comfortable with it, because there are going to be some times when you have 2 or 3 parts that you can't possibly do this all in 1 take, and then software can make this a lot easier. So that's one thing too. You don't have to get it perfect, especially if you use software, you can make it as perfect as you want to.
Yep.
Yeah. So, okay, the other thing too, you mentioned the product is too far away from the camera. Let's talk about that a little bit as well. And the sound. They're kind of related.
So I bought these lapel mics we're using
Right
today.
here, yeah.
I found them on sale on the Amazon, and they were $30. They come with a little case. I've done my review on them already. I don't have it posted yet, but I've done the review. And for $30, it's quick, it's simple, it's in a case, it stays charged, it runs for a while, and the audio is much better. Now, if you can't swing the $30, I get it. There's a few things you can do. You want to get the camera as wide of an angle as possible so that you can move the camera closer to you, and the audio will be better because you are closer to the microphone. So if you can't put the microphone on you, then that's a tip on that. But the audio is, they always say like the audio is like right there with the video.
Yeah.
It's important. It's up there.
And that's for sure, that's important. But being too far away from the product is annoying as well, because they want to see they don't want to see you, they want to see the product. So just make sure that to zoom in on that. If you want to be in the video, great, but just make sure whoever's recording it, or if your camera, make sure you can see the product, because you need to be able to see. If you're, I'm zooming in like right now, there's this box that this camera is. That's stupid. Yeah. So whatever the product is, make sure they can see it, no matter how you're shooting it, because that's what Amazon wants. Amazon wants to review the product. They don't care about you. They don't care about what you're wearing. And in fact, in some ways, if you're doing the video, if you're on camera, make sure you're not wearing anything too distracting, because they're going to lose focus because they're looking at you instead of the product itself.
Yeah, so another thing along those lines I do when I have a helper, and by the way, your significant other will become more of a helper and more of a willing helper.
Maybe yours.
Once they start seeing some money rolling in. That helps.
Yeah.
Definitely helps. But
they're not making enough money yet.
yeah, well, maybe when you get the $3,000 a month, maybe your helper will arrive. But no, seriously though, if you can if you can get a helper, what I like to do is like, okay, here's the plan. We're going to start off on the product. I'm going to introduce myself in the product, and then you can kind of pan out and get me in it, and I'll start using the product. So yeah, you want to get some really good shots, some real cool visual stuff. If you can only sit it on a tripod, just try to get a little bit creative with that. The thing I hate about the tripod is you stick it on a tripod, you get a good video of the product and kind of starting it, and then you kind of have to stop the video, which means there's going to be an edit involved, and kind of go from there. So if you can get a helper, it makes things faster in the edits.
Okay, good deal. We're wrapping up, guys. But one thing that is I've seen this a lot, and it's happened to myself as well. But you might be one of those people like, this is great information, I love this, but you haven't done anything. You maybe listened to all our podcasts, and you still have done nothing. And I'm not going to say shame on you, but just get going. Just do it. Analysis paralysis is a real thing. I think there's some metric out there that 70% of people who buy a course or something never do anything with that course at all. Nothing. They spend $2,000-$3,000, and even though they're spending money, they do nothing with it. I've done the same thing before, which shame on me. But so if you're that kind of person who's like, I don't know, I don't really have that microphone yet, I don't really know what I'm gonna review yet, I don't really have a social media platform, get things moving. Every day, do something to head in that direction. Do something today. Do something like, I created a Facebook page today. Awesome, do that. Please do something. We've got some friends who are just like, they just haven't gotten started. I'm just like, hey, maybe it's not for you. But if you really do feel like this side hustle is for you, then the best thing you can do is take action and head that direction. It may be baby steps for you, but it's a huge thing. Just taking that very first step of doing something.
That's the hardest step.
That's the hardest step. But once you get over that step, that next step's a lot easier. I promise you. I've done this a million times. I've failed many times, but when I've been successful, I've done those things. I've done a little bit every day to progress in that right direction.
So jump on the Facebook page. Let us know what you like about the podcast. Lead with that, please. Also, go ahead and put in there what you don't like. That's fine. We can take it. What we're not covering or what we aren't covering deep enough, please let us know. That helps a ton. We kind of just go through the week while helping people. We kind of see what the needs are, but you may be in a little different spot. So let us know where you're at and where we can meet you.
Side Hustle Heroes HQ at gmail.com if you have something more personal that you don't want to be in the Facebook group, but most of the stuff on the Facebook group is probably fine. You can private message us as well, but there's a lot of ways to reach us. We're all over the place. You should not have any problem at all. Side Hustle Heroes HQ. We're on all the social media platforms that I can think of. We've got videos, we've got content. Facebook group is where you want to start though for sure. And then next week, I think we're going to talk a little bit about more scaling. So when you get to the point where you've kind of we've talked a little bit about networking, going to your friends' houses, but we're going to talk about some other things, maybe 5 or 6 different ways to really scale and get to the next level. And I'd love to get some of your ideas. We actually had someone join our Facebook group who has like over 200 videos up. So we'd love to hear from this individual if he's got some ideas for like how he's scaling, because you may be one of those people that don't have a whole lot of products that you can review in your house.
Matt, he's talking to you because you didn't hit him back on Facebook, so you're getting called out on the podcast.
Yeah.
I
Well,
said Matt. There's more than one Matt out there.
yeah, that's true.
But Matt, you know who you are.
Anyway, yeah. So anyway, he found us through his podcast as well. So lots of people are watching our podcast, and I think a lot of them probably haven't joined our Facebook group yet. But if you're watching, you've watched, this is your first one, or you've watched several. Why haven't you joined our Facebook group yet? Do you want to learn? Do you want to do this? Get off the fence. Let's do Amazon Influencer. Let's get you in. Let's get you started making money here. So,
All right, we'll see
awesome.
you on the next one.
All right. Good job, Jim Ed. Over and out.